'cause I can see the light of a clear blue morning, and everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be okay.
Long before the Rhinestones, the private theme park, or the 25 #1 hits, there was a one-room cabin in the Great Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. In that cabin, a mother stitched together a coat out of rags for her daughter, telling her an ancient story about Joseph to make the sting of poverty feel like a blessing.
And I've been waiting for the morning.
Decades later, that little girl would stand under blinding stage lights in front of world leaders and packed arenas, still singing that very same story in that same plain, unguarded voice. Most artists write songs to entertain. Dolly Parton wrote a diary, set it to music, and let the entire world turn the pages. There are artists we admire, there are artists we remember, and then there are the rare few whose voices quietly become woven into the fabric of our lives. For nearly 6 decades, her voice could turn a broken heart into a story, a childhood memory into a song, and a simple goodbye into something the whole world could understand.
We got something going on.
When the world lost Dolly Parton, the silence felt deafening. On August 25, 2026, Dolly Parton died peacefully in Nashville at the age of 80. Her official website announced her death, and the Country Music Hall of Fame now records her life as January 19, 1946 to August 25, 2026.
All this love we feel needs no conversation.
Suddenly, the songs we thought we knew sound entirely different. Jolene is no longer just a tale of raw jealousy. Coat of Many Colors feels like a permanent farewell to the child she once was. And I Will Always Love You carries a weight that only time and memory can truly explain. Her story was never simply about making it out of Appalachia with a guitar and a dream. It was about what she survived, the mentors she had the courage to walk away from, and a fiercely guarded life she built entirely on her own terms.
Love is like a butterfly, as soft and gentle as a sigh.
Tonight, this is not a generic chart countdown. This is the chronicle of an extraordinary life, told through 10 definitive songs that Dolly tied directly to her soul. From the train ticket that carried a determined young girl out of the mountains, all the way back to the very place where her story began, this is Spotlight Archives, and this is Dolly Parton, told the way she always told it best.
Love is like a butterfly, a rare and gentle thing.
Number 10, My Tennessee Mountain Home, 1973.
In my Tennessee mountain home.
Long before Dollywood, before the film career, before 25 #1 hits, there was a song describing exactly the place all of it grew out of.
For recreation, friends and neighbors. And
Released in 1973, My Tennessee Mountain Home captures the specific sensory details of the home she grew up in, the honeysuckle, the sound of the screen door, the rhythms of a rural Tennessee childhood that, despite the poverty documented elsewhere in her catalog, she consistently described in interviews as happy. It's a song that holds two truths at once without resolving the tension between them, that a place can be both genuinely difficult and genuinely beloved.
time for stopping, making time for family.
The song became a touchstone for her identity as a songwriter specifically rooted in place. Years later, when she opened Dollywood in the same region she'd sung about, and when she funded literacy and disaster relief programs specifically targeted at her home region of East Tennessee following wildfires in the area, interviewers repeatedly connected those decisions directly back to songs like this one.
Time for washing a little dirty face.
It's not her biggest hit, but among the people who grew up in the same hills she did, it's frequently cited as the song that captures her most accurately, not the rhinestone persona, but the mountain girl underneath it, who never really left. It's a fitting place to begin this list, because almost every song that follows leads back, one way or another, to this exact patch of ground.
Life is as peaceful as a baby's sigh.
Number 9, Dumb Blonde, 1966.
Just because I'm blonde, don't think I'm dumb, 'cause this dumb blonde ain't no.
Before Nashville knew what to make of her, 4 singles had already failed. Monument Records had signed her as a teenager, but the label wanted a pop singer in the mold of Brenda Lee, not a country artist, and nothing in that direction had caught on.
Don't try to make me feel sorry for you.
Dumb Blonde, written by Curly Putman rather than by this artist herself, was released as a single in November of 1966. It found her something none of the earlier records had, an identity.
'Cause this dumb blonde ain't nobody's fool.
The song's narrator turns an insult into a warning. Pretty and blonde does not mean foolish, and anyone who assumes otherwise will regret it. Sung by a 20-year-old still years from stardom, it landed as something close to a personal statement, whether or not she'd written the words herself.
You flew too high off of the ground.
It became her first single ever to chart on Billboard's country survey, eventually climbing to number 24 the following year. Within months of its release, she would be asked to join the Porter Wagoner show, the platform that would make her a national name.
Well, I found new thread for my old screw.
It's a small hit by the standards of everything that followed. But it's the first documented moment the public heard exactly what would define her entire career, an artist consistently underestimated for her looks, her accent, and her persona, who spent the next 6 decades proving, patiently and repeatedly, that the assumption was always wrong.
It's stormy weather and had to come back down.
Number 8, Islands in the Stream, with Kenny Rogers, 1983. Written by Barry, Robin, and Maurice Gibb of the Bee Gees, Islands in the Stream was reportedly intended for other artists before it found its way to this pairing instead, a decision that produced one of the most successful duets in the history of American music.
You do something to me that I can't explain.
The song spent 2 weeks at number 1 on Billboard's Hot Country Songs chart in late 1983 and topped the all-genre Hot 100 as well, but its lasting significance to her story has little to do with chart statistics. It marked the beginning of a creative partnership and a genuine friendship with Kenny Rogers that would continue for nearly 4 decades, long after the song itself left the charts.
Hold me closer and I feel no pain, everything.
The two artists would go on to record further duets and tour together periodically for years afterward, and by most public accounts remained close for the rest of Rogers' life. When he died in 2020, she posted a video tribute performing a song for him directly, describing the loss in personal, unguarded terms rather than the polished language of a professional statement.
We got something going on.
Few of her collaborations reveal as much about her as this one, an artist capable of forming creative partnerships that outlasted trends, contracts, and even the song that started them.
All this love we feel needs no conversation. We're right.
Number 7, In the Good Old Days, When Times Were Bad, 1969.
In the good old days.
Long before the rhinestones and the record deals, there was hunger. Real, documented, frequently discussed hunger, from a childhood in a 2-room cabin with 11 brothers and sisters and, by her own account in later interviews, not nearly enough food to go around.
We'd get up before sunup to get the work done. We'd
In the Good Old Days, When Times Were Bad, doesn't romanticize that childhood. It confronts it directly, describing hard winters, patched clothing, and the particular irony embedded in its own title, the idea that people often look back fondly on hardship only once they're safely out of it.
work in the fields till the sun had gone down.
Released in 1969, years before this artist would achieve major solo stardom, the song stands as one of the earliest and most unflinching examples of her willingness to write about poverty without asking for pity. There's no bitterness in the delivery, and no sentimentality either, just a plain-spoken account of what it actually felt like to grow up without enough.
We've gone to bed hungry many nights in the past.
It's a foundational text for understanding everything that followed, the empathy that would later define her business decisions, funding childhood literacy programs, donating to hospitals, quietly supporting causes far from any camera, traces directly back to a memory this song refused to soften.
In the good old days, when
Number 6, Love is Like a Butterfly, 1974.
love is like a butterfly, as soft and gentle as a sigh.
Long before it became a symbol printed on merchandise, painted across a theme park entrance, and stitched into the trade dress of an entertainment empire, the butterfly was just a memory, one of this artist's favorite pastimes as a child, chasing them through the woods of the Great Smoky Mountains.
Love makes your heart feel strange inside. It flutters like soft wings and
Written entirely by her and released in August of 1974, Love is Like a Butterfly turned that childhood memory into a metaphor for the fragile, fluttering feeling of falling in love. She would later describe it, in her own words, as a deliberately soft and innocent song, soft and gentle as a sigh, in her own phrase, written at a moment when her solo career, freshly independent from Porter Wagoner, was itself taking flight.
love is like a butterfly, a rare and gentle thing.
The single reached number 1 on the country chart, her 3rd consecutive chart topper, and 4th overall as a solo artist, arriving in the same extraordinary year as Jolene and I Will Always Love You. It became the theme song for her 1976 television variety show, sung each week as she was lowered onto the stage on a giant prop swing.
Your touch is soft and gentle, your kiss is warm and tender.
But its longest legacy wasn't musical at all. The butterfly from this song became her personal emblem, worked into the Dollywood logo, printed across her own branding for decades afterward, a permanent visual signature drawn from a single afternoon of songwriting, rooted in a childhood spent outdoors.
Love makes your heart feel strange inside. It flutters like soft wings and
Few songs on this list did more to shape how the world would come to recognize her, long after the song itself had left the radio.
love is like a butterfly.
Number 5, Light of a Clear Blue Morning, 1977. Every account of this artist's career includes some version of the same turning point, the difficult, protracted split from Porter Wagoner, the television and recording partner who had built her national platform throughout the late 1960s and early 1970s, and who did not want to see her go solo.
And I've been waiting for the morning.
Light of a Clear Blue Morning, released in 1977, is widely understood as her musical statement about the aftermath of that split. A deliberate step away from the shadow of a mentor and towards something she had built entirely on her own terms. The song describes exactly that. Darkness giving way to clear light, restriction giving way to open space.
'Cause I've been looking for the sunshine.
Unlike I Will Always Love You, which was written as a direct farewell before the split, Light of a Clear Blue Morning was written after, a song not about leaving, but about having already left, and discovering it was survivable. The professional relationship between the two artists remained complicated for years afterward, a fact she addressed with varying degrees of candor across different interviews over the following decades. But the song itself carries no ambiguity. It's one of the clearest expressions in her entire catalog of what independence actually felt like once she'd finally claimed it. We're down to number 5, and if you appreciate the stories behind the songs, the moments of heartbreak, ambition, conflict, and triumph that shaped country music, you're in the right place. This is Spotlight Archives. Subscribe, because the story behind our next song is one you won't want to miss.
And everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be okay.
Number 4, 9 to 5, 1980.
Working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living.
By 1980, this artist had already proven she could top the country charts. What she hadn't yet proven was whether she could conquer an entirely different industry, Hollywood.
They just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's a
9 to 5 changed that. Written for her feature film debut alongside Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin, the song reportedly took shape on set, with this artist using her own acrylic fingernails to tap out the rhythm before it existed in any other form.
motion. You would think that I would deserve a bad promotion.
It became a #1 hit on both the country and pop charts simultaneously, and won Grammy Awards for Best Country Song and Best Female Country Vocal Performance. But its significance to her personal story runs deeper than the awards. The song's lyrics, about the exhaustion and indignity of underpaid, undervalued labor, drew directly on her own memories of working-class life in East Tennessee. Not office work specifically, but the broader experience of being underestimated and overworked while someone else profited from it. It marked the moment this artist stopped being simply a country star and became something closer to a cultural institution, recognized by audiences who had never bought a country album in their lives, and, in the decades that followed, the surprising foundation for a Broadway musical, a sequel film, and one of the most widely covered anthems in American popular music. Number 3, Jolene, 1974. According to this artist's own account, repeated across dozens of interviews over 5 decades, Jolene was inspired by a real encounter, a bank teller with striking red hair who had, in her telling, taken a noticeable interest in her husband, Carl Dean. What makes the story remarkable isn't just the anecdote, it's what she chose to do with it. Rather than write a song of anger or accusation, Jolene is a plea, vulnerable, generous even toward its rival, and entirely without the vindictiveness the situation might have justified. It became her second #1 country hit, reaching the top of the chart in February of 1974.
Your beauty is beyond compare with flaming locks of auburn hair with
Carl Dean, her husband, remained an intensely private figure throughout their 60-year marriage, rarely photographed and almost never interviewed, a contrast that made Jolene one of the only public windows the world ever received into their relationship.
Your smile is like a breath of spring. Your voice is soft like summer rain.
She would go on to write and perform some of the most famous love songs in American music, almost none of which named him directly, which makes this song's origin story unusually significant.
Jolene, 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 Jolene.
Decades later, Jolene remains one of the most covered, sampled, and reinterpreted songs in the history of American popular music. Proof that a moment of very private insecurity, turned into art, could become one of the most universally understood songs ever written.
I'm begging of you, please, don't take my man.
Number 2, I Will Always Love You, 1974. The split from Porter Wagoner was, by nearly every account, one of the most difficult professional relationships of her career to end. He had built her platform. He had also, by her own later description, resisted her attempts to leave for her own solo path for years.
I'll think of you each step of the way.
"I Will Always Love You" was her answer, written, according to her own retelling, specifically as a way to say goodbye to him without severing the relationship entirely. It reached #1 on the country chart in 1974.
That you have all you ever dreamed of.
Then, in a feat almost no artist accomplishes, she re-recorded the same song 8 years later for a film soundtrack, and it climbed back to #1 again in 1982, making it one of the only songs in American music history to top the same chart twice with recordings by the same performer, a decade apart.
Wish you love and
The story didn't end there either. A decade after that, Whitney Houston's interpretation of the same song, recorded for a different film soundtrack, became one of the best-selling singles in the history of recorded music, introducing an entirely new global audience to a song originally written as a quiet, personal farewell to a mentor in Nashville.
always love you. You know
It remains, by most accounts, the single clearest piece of evidence for what may be this artist's defining professional trait, an ability to turn difficult, complicated personal relationships into some of the most enduring songs ever recorded, without ever writing a single note of bitterness into them.
Thank you. God bless you.
#1, Coat of Many Colors, 1971.
My coat of many colors that my mama made for me.
Of everything this artist ever recorded, she returned to this one song in interview after interview, decade after decade, as the one that mattered most.
Back through the years I go wandering once again.
The story behind it, by her own account, is simple. Her mother sewed her a coat out of scraps of fabric, using a story from the Bible about Joseph's coat of many colors to help her understand that the patchwork garment was something to be proud of, not ashamed of. When she wore the coat to school, her classmates mocked it, and her.
And I recall a box of grapes that someone gave us.
She turned that memory into a song in 1971, and it became a moderate hit at the time, reaching the top 10 on the country chart, though notably not #1. But its cultural weight far exceeds its chart performance.
Rags of many colors, but every piece was small.
She would go on to write a best-selling children's book based on the song, executive produce a television film adaptation, and describe it, repeatedly and without qualification, as the favorite song of her entire career.
Mama sewed the rags together, sewing every piece with love.
It's not her biggest hit, it's not her most awarded, or her most covered, or her most commercially successful. But if these 10 songs are an attempt to trace the outline of a life through music, this is the one that draws the clearest line, from a cabin in the Smoky Mountains, through poverty and ridicule, to a woman who spent the rest of her life turning what people mocked her for into the foundation of everything she built. It is, in the truest sense, where her story begins.
She made my coat of many colors that I was so proud.
10 songs, one life, told mostly in her own words, across 6 decades of interviews, memoirs, and the music itself. What connects them isn't chart position, it's honesty, a willingness, rare in any industry, to keep telling the same true stories about poverty, loyalty, independence, and home, long after she had the fame and the fortune to leave all of it behind and never look back.
I hope this coat will bring you good luck and happiness.
If one of these Dolly Parton songs carries a memory for you, don't let this be the end of the conversation. Tell us in the comments which Dolly Parton song you will always carry with you. We'd like to hear it. Someone reading your comment may have the exact same memory.
Although we had no money, I was rich as I could be.
And if you want more true stories from the history of classic country music, subscribe to Spotlight Archives. There are a lot more of these still to tell. The songs may be old, but their stories are never finished. This is Spotlight Archives, and Dolly will always love you.
Made just for me.